Tell me about a complicated woman. Muse, tell me how she tried to protect her sister when she offered the berries to a boy in love, and where she went and who she inspired, the firestorm that followed her every kind action, and how she failed to protect everyone she loved. Now, goddess, child of Zeus, tell the old story for our modern times. Find the beginning, and welcome to the Adaptation Games. My name's Ash.
And I'm Kels, and we are a Hunger Games podcast where we break down the films beat by beat and analyze them along with the book to understand themes, characters, and to determine just how good an adaptation these movies are. And what a week, or month really, for adaptation it has been. As you just heard, Ash's adaptation of the beginning of the Odyssey, redone for our wonderful Hunger Games audience. That was brilliant.
Thank you. I think that's the most creative writing I've done in a year.
And you banged it out in like 2 minutes. So
yeah.
Maybe we need to get back to some writing challenges, clearly. We are back for more of the script this time around instead of just the movie. And since it's a bunch of stuff that's going to get even crazier than what we've already done, it's absolutely unhinged. Before we get into all of that, we really wanted to talk about the Odyssey because we both recently saw it. I think you've mentioned on the podcast that you were rereading it prior to us watching the movie. And
yes.
We haven't really talked about it yet. So I really want to talk about it a little bit and hear your thoughts.
No, it's fun. It's fun. Yes. Yeah. Both big fans of the adaptation, Christopher Nolan's adaptation. I have read the Odyssey many a times. As an English major, it's sort of required that you read it at least 3 times for different classes.
Minimum.
But, I've been out of academia for a very long time, so I've forgotten all of it. So some friends and we decided to reread it. I got halfway through. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it. But also the movie did its own thing and and we'll loosely related in many ways.
Yeah. What was the translation you were just reading?
So for this round, we are reading the Emily Wilson translation, which is new to all of us. But previously I have read, I think it's the Robert Fagles, which I really like. If you like more flowery language, the Fagles translation is the way to go. I forget if one of my favorite translations is Robert Fitzgerald, but I think that's the Iliad. That's one of my favorite translations of Greek material. Not that I've read that much. That's lower expectations. Yeah. I was not a literature major. I was a rhetoric major.
I think I read the Iliad more than I ever read the Odyssey, but I was a big Percy Jackson kid, and I love the Percy Jackson adaptation. So I was like, I recently watched season 2, which is just the Odyssey. So I was like, that's as good as I'm going to get in terms of prepping for the movie coming out.
I'm a bigger fan of the Iliad. Personally, I think it's just a more interesting story. There's more gods involved. There's more people. There's, some stuff happens. It's a good time. Odysseus as a character, I don't know. I don't like him.
There are thoughts to be had. This is for sure.
There are thoughts to be had. Sure. I think it's shared across many. It's not an unusual sort of thing to be like, wow, Telemachus is useless, and Odysseus is also useless, but in a more annoying way.
Right. Well, as somebody who didn't read the books or reread any of the translations going in, I really enjoyed it for a variety of reasons. Matt Damon is great. Let me just start by saying that. Love him. He's there as Odysseus, but that's mostly just because, Odysseus is, again, he's also just kind of, making choices that you're like, I don't know, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so Odysseus in the Odyssey is very, he's making decisions, and he's a very trickstery guy. He's, Loki-esque. Whereas Damon is just sort of surviving. He's more serious. So they stripped a lot of the personality of Odysseus to have him then be the slate that carries the story, essentially.
What I really liked about it is it reads as a play more than anything, almost like a poem in the how long it takes every scene to take. And I was like, oh, I like that. Which I didn't think I was going to enjoy, but I did.
Oh, yeah. I do wish that they could figure out a way to have the film reel last longer than 3 minutes, because I felt like a lot of the dialogue needed some extra airtime where actors just have the ability to sit in the moment and react. But because the IMAX cameras only have a 3-minute spiel, there's a pretty good rhythm to every dialogue, which I'm, not sad about. But sometimes I'm like, oh, it would have been nice if we could have just sat there for a bit and watched that and hold that beat for a little moment longer.
Well, and dialogue's not really Nolan's strong point to begin with. Like, he's more about the structure and the storytelling through film aspect than he is like through the speaking and the telling. I know everybody's like, oh, it's really clunky. It's like very, what is it? Like obvious, like he's like really laying it out for you. But it's like, I mean, people are stupid nowadays. I get it. What I noticed, at least for me, because my roommate and I went to go see it together. And then I will say this, I went to go see it in 70 millimeter at a 1:30 a.m. screening. That was super fun. But
I hate you.
For the first 2 hours of the movie, I was like, oh, it's good. But like, what is the point? Like, where are we going? What are we trying to say? Because that's like the point of adapting, right? It's like, what is it you're trying to get across, and what new things are you trying to get across with the material that you have? And so when we hit the third act, really, I guess we could call it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, it recontextualizes everything. It was like, oh yeah, that final conversation he's having with Penelope, right? Before like he actually starts taking out all the suitors or whatever. It's like, okay, yes, this is the point. This is the whole reason he made the movie, and I get it.
Yeah, it's a completely different take than the actual poem, because the poem was like, yeah, wreck it, like. And
the Greeks were pretty violent, so
they're pretty violent. Also, like, I mean, context for the Odyssey a little bit from what little I know is that, I mean, in ancient Greece, these were about ancient Greeks. Like, this was their idea of a time before at a different civilization that interacted directly with the gods, and the gods walked on the land. So it's about the Mycenaeans. So even to ancient Greeks, it was old and like about a society that had passed and fallen. So now they are in this new society that rose from its ashes, essentially. So it like the theme, even though it's not present necessarily in the actual poem, the Odyssey, it is kind of present in just the narrative of the type of story and how long we've been telling this story. I really enjoyed. I really like the theme of it and how he carried it and how like it applies to modern audiences and stuff. There's no point in adapting anything if you're not going to speak to the people that are watching it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the big thing that I think people need to remember is that Homer's Odyssey, right? If we're calling this Nolan's Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey is also an adaptation of oral tradition. It's not like this is an original story that he wrote 100% during ancient Greek times, right? Like, it's an adaptation of an oral tradition. So nothing needs to be accurate for people who really like to hang on to that kind of stuff. Maybe some other time we can talk about Emily Wilson, because I have thoughts and opinions about Emily's reviews.
Her translation is great.
Her translation is fantastic.
I really liked it. It's very easy to get through. I'd say, it's not as flowery. It doesn't feel like it has like the weight of, say, the Fagles thing, where we expect when we read old poetry, we expect a certain amount of flowery language that may or may not actually be present in the poem. Like, I don't know about the actual translation, but it could be a pretty like straightforward language that they were speaking in the common tongue and not doing all these like, if thou'st was, I don't know.
Right. Well, it's like listening to Shakespeare. You're like, did everybody speak like the way that Shakespeare wrote? No.
No. And that's why, I mean, Shakespeare is meant to be watched, because then you can see what the actors are doing, and that helps you understand the language,
Right. Exactly. And it's like with the Odyssey, it's meant, again, to be an oral tradition more than anything else. Hence the opening of like the Muses. I know everybody was kind of clowning on Travis Scott doing the opening. Brilliant choice to have a rapper do it, I think, specifically.
Yeah, I think I would rather not have Travis Scott, but I'll take it. Yeah, I think the rap idea of integrating rap is perfect.
Yeah.
And every Greek film needs to start with a call to the Muses. Like, that is so inherent to Greek poetry that you don't do that, it's not a Greek retelling,
Right.
I also really loved, I think her name is Samantha Morrison. Cersei.
Oh yeah, Cersei was really
I think
good.
she was a huge standout. Entirely different, or very different than the poem. But I really liked her depiction. I think it is so well suited for modern audiences that can read in between the lines. And like Cersei in the Odyssey is more warm, I guess.
Right.
But seems like there's not really a lot there. But I think the way that they changed the dialogue and changed the tone. And it was interesting, we're going to jump all over the place here, so hold on tight, folks.
Because I know everybody's like, I'm not necessarily like the biggest Nolan fan, let me just say. But
me neither.
I like a lot of his stuff. Like, I think he is an auteur. I think he usually knows exactly what he's trying to say, and I think he has a really good visual eye for when he tells stories. I don't always think his characters are the most interesting, but the current thing about him not being able to write women, I'm like, yes, in a lot of his past films, first of all, there just aren't enough women in it for us to like compare to anything. But for here in the Odyssey, everybody's like, none of the women characters have interiority. And I'm like, you guys have to all be getting this off of ChatGPT, and now it's like spread. Because literally nobody used this language in film analysis and criticism like in this way and to such a massive scale. So you guys are all really just like saying things, because to say that Penelope has no interiority, to say that Cersei has no interiority, like, first of all, what does that even mean? And second of all, I think it does. Like Cersei, even just like knowing the Crow is her sister, you're like, that gives you like a whole thing about her life and about how she feels about the people around her and who she can trust and like all of this other stuff for her to be like, it's just easier to keep her this way.
Yeah, I would say the only maybe woman that doesn't have interiority is Calypso, which actually kind of suits the character. She is a whiny teenager in the Odyssey. The Calypso in the Odyssey, in the poem itself, is the most obnoxious 13-year-old in a 400-year-old's body.
That's exactly like, she's like, oh, I have a shiny new toy and I'm gonna keep him. Yeah, she doesn't really. She doesn't really need anything else. Anyways, I also love Lupita Nyong'o. Even though she's only got a couple of lines, I think she delivers every single one of them so well.
I think it's I like the interpretation. I love the scene of her with Agamemnon. I am an Agamemnon hater until I die. If he has zero haters, then I'm dead. I hate that man.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Speaking of Ludwig, who composed
soundtrack.
I mean, just give him the Oscar now. Just give it to him. He's brilliant, and he should win an Oscar for every film he's ever done. He's fucking incredible. I'm obsessed with him. And they built instruments that have not been seen for millennia. Like, I mean, just insane stuff that, like, I love. Love, 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 love. I know that some people had issues with the audio. I'll say this. I had zero issues. And I have a lot. The number one thing I complain about when I go to the movies is sound mixing nowadays. Every time I go to the movies, I will find a nitpick. My theater, I had no problems with the sound design. Was the Cyclops loud? Yes. And then when I saw it in 70mm, the sound design is even better on film. So, like, I'm lucky because I live next to a lot of really great theaters that have really good audio.
I'll say, as someone who does not have good movie theaters, the sound design was really hard. I really struggled with this film. One, every time I watched it twice. The first time the fire alarm went off mid pre-roll, so we had to evacuate the building and then come back, and we were still in time for the film, but it did throw off the whole vibe a bit. And then the second time I got rear-ended, so
it's been going great.
I just have decided I can't watch this film ever again, because clearly but this sound was so hard. It was so hard to hear the dialogue and breath the sound, and the Cyclops was very loud. Luckily, I had warned about that. The second time I watched it, I had earplugs in, like concert earplugs, and it was way better. So I can actually hear the dialogue. It was more balanced, but obviously, that is like an adjustment that I had to do. So I have to say, I don't know. I mean, I am great. I love that, we're striving to do these films on like full IMAX and 70 millimeter, but they're so completely inaccessible and they're not well tailored for the average mediocre to shitty movie theater that it's like, yes, I had a great experience, but like, I'm not a part of the like cool kids that get to see.
I do agree that like you should have adjusted digital mixes if that's the case, because a lot of theaters can't handle that kind of stuff just audio wise, especially when you get outside of the cities. They're just not that great. Yeah, the sequel twist is probably my favorite bit, and not just the see people twist, because I will say it blindsided me. Now that I'm like, oh, I've seen it a second time, I'm like, it's obvious, but like the first time around, I just wasn't really thinking about it. But then the Zendaya, she played Athena so well, but the twist that she was just one of the priestesses at Athena's temple, and that they were cutting off her head, and that is what cut off the Athena statue head. That was the one that worked really well for me, even better than the see people twist, where it was like, right, because he notices and realizes this is the destruction of everything.
I mean, it's kind of fun, just like metatextually. The fall of Troy is the start of Rome. Right. In mythology, like in literature, because that's when Ennius sails away, and then does the Ennead, and then eventually, quote unquote, founds Rome.
Oh, okay. See, like I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and then obviously, like we know now, Rome supersedes Greece and takes them over for a bit, and then they, yeah.
Also, Elliot Page, love in the Hades scene.
So good.
So good. And then the dog, that made us sad in a good way. People are still more shocked about the fact that they were just throwing puppies off of the cliff than probably anything else that happens in the movie. But this has to go back to people care a lot more about dogs than they do about people. So that's a whole different conversation we could have.
They were throwing babies off of cliffs. I don't know why you think
they threw a black girl off a cliff. A black baby off of a cliff, and literally people are like, why was the wife so upset? Why did she kill him when he came home?
The moment that Telemachus recognizes and like realizes that he's speaking to Odysseus. With the dog there.
So good. I think that Tom Holland does great. And then again, Robert Pattinson, that whole end sequence when the guy is throwing the weapons down.
The spears.
The shield. Get the shield. I mean, cinema, he should win an Oscar for that alone. Sorry.
Glorious.
I thought he was so good.
I love the Odyssey. My conclusion was I really liked it. I think it was a great interpretation. I think it was a great retelling for modern audiences and taking a modern approach and integrating several different, at least visually, several different styles of storytelling. Mm-hmm. I think that it had an amazing message at the end that's very appropriate for today's audience and just suits the world that we're around. Surprisingly, I liked the kind of darker tone. I don't usually like Nolan's everything is black and sad, but I really like the modern or that darker tone because, I mean, you think of the Greeks 10 years at war. I mean, their stores are ravaged.
It's all about detail in film and tying us back into adaptations. Because now we're going to finally get into the Hunger Games stuff. It's only 10 o'clock.
Wait, sorry, what's this podcast about?
It's all about the little details that really are going to like make things amazing. So like one of the little details is we don't hear Penelope's name spoken until Odysseus remembers it when he's on Calypso's island. A little detail, but an important detail. We won't learn her name until he remembers her name. Like, when people do the curtains are blue, you're just like, they're just blue, right? Because this is always the example. In film, everything is there for a reason. You have to have a reason to put it on screen and to shoot it the way that you're going to shoot it. Even if it's a bad movie. Like, there are hundreds of people working to craft that scene and that set and the graphic design in the background. Like, we went to our friend's panel at Comic-Con this year, and she's a graphic designer, and she designed our logo, Vintas Designs, and they talk a lot about, like, you know, if there's a newspaper in the background, somebody graphic designed that. If there's office paper, somebody graphic designed that. Like, that is all there with a purpose, and maybe everybody's interpreting that purpose differently. So sometimes it's cohesive and sometimes it's not. It depends on how strong of a vision you have as a film. But, like, everything matters. So, like, when people complain about stuff, I'm always kind of like, yeah, but a bad movie is still a movie that got made. So I can always appreciate
by a miracle.
It. Yeah, by a miracle.
Like, every movie is a miracle.
Yeah, some movies don't justify. It's one of those things that's why I love, especially when we're talking adaptations, going from written into visual, and like how much that can add just by having papers on the desk in the background, right? Like, we literally interpreted a bunch of stuff from just the map in the Hunger Games, where we could see everybody, where they were placed, stuff that we don't get in the book, right? That you can take as canon or you don't have to take as canon, but it's detail that the filmmakers put in there to enhance the story, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not a randomly picked thing. It's something that probably the designer who designed the hologram probably had to sit in a meeting with like 40 people, or over the course of time speak to 40 different people about this design and where the tributes are going to be placed, right? This is not just like something they randomly pick to do. We loved the Odyssey as an adaptation, and now we're going to finally get into our adaptation that we're talking about, which we also love.
I will say one final thing that just came to me. If you have watched the Odyssey and you are on a Greek history kick, you want more of it, it's not related to the Odyssey, but it is related to the martial culture of Greece, Greece proper, not Mycenaeans. There's a book called The Sacred Band that's about Thebes and the rise and fall of Thebes as told through the actions and sort of the deployments of this band of 300 gay men that they had as their supreme fighting force. It's a fantastic book. It's a very good read, and luckily it takes place over, like, I don't know, 20 to 40 years or something like that. It's a pretty short time period, so you get the same recurring characters. You can remember names. You don't really get lost. Highly recommend that as a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on my list. I need to read more in general. That's my big thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's bad.
Love that.
But we return to the games, but if the games were in another universe.
Yeah, a different adaptation, which is the script version. And again, right? Adaptation's valid. Glad we didn't get this version of the adaptation.
Oh my god.
Like I was saying, absolutely unhinged, the things that happen in this script version. It's crazy because, like, the things that are happening to Katniss, like, in the games, there's a couple of little things that I'm like, what? Like, she catches Glimmer's arrow out of midair when Glimmer shoots at her. And I'm like, what?
The burn on your hand from that.
Yeah. Anyways. But most of the time when she's in the arena, that stuff is, like, exactly the book, including the dehydration and, like, all this other stuff. Anything we get outside of the arena, oh my god, it's an entirely different ballgame.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Gale's the main character of the Hunger Games. It's so funny. I think last time we read this pitch script, I made a bet that Gale would show up in the arena, and now I'm scared that he actually is going to.
Literally, I wrote down what you said. Hold on. I think you said, like, because we were like, bet time. We're gonna bet what he's gonna do. The Capitol and Gale and Haymitch. No, this was before. Hold on. I was trying to, like, label the different sections because I always do that in my notes, right? So that I can kind of keep track even if I'm not looking at them directly. And I gave up. I was like, I don't know how to label these. It's cutting back and forth so frequently, so fast. It's crazy. But here was what you said. Here's our bet. You were betting me whether or not he was going to be physically back, not just in a flashback. I was like, oh, he's going to watch the games with Prim again once he gets back, I guess, to District 12 and is not punished in some way. And you said a way we never would have thought of or expected, but is going to happen. So that was your bet.
I win!
So you win. I don't know what we were betting, but I think that this qualifies. I know that everybody else is like, what the hell are you guys talking about? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Don't worry.
I'm oh my god, I'm so glad they didn't shoot the script. This would have been the end of the YA genre. Everyone would start reading nonfiction.
It's people would have been so mad. I think people are already mad about some of the things that changed, but this, I
would say the vibe of this script is equivalent, but not quite as bad as The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. Because the elements
I was thinking
are still
about
there.
how I had to rank it, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say Last Airbender way worse. But this has the vibes of that attempt at interpretation and like evolving your interpretation that is very scary and bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we should get into it. I think we should let the audience in on this fascinating interpretation of The Hunger Games as a novel into a film.
Okay, so to start, we're back at like page 59, 60, I think. And we had just ended on the betting board from the last time that we were looking at the script, right? And basically, Haymitch walks into Katniss's room while she's sleeping, and Katniss wakes up to him like leaning over her. And
why is he there?
Why is he there? And it's so funny because it's like, we've been talking about this in the script, is that he is not being a mentor basically at all, because Effie has like taken over in her responsibility to like be their mentor. And this is the first time he's going to mentor, the only time he's going to mentor, really, as we'll see later on. And yeah, he basically just gives her like the what do you do at the start of the games, like he's like listing out like, you know, you're gonna like look for water and like do all this other stuff, and like here's how you're gonna survive in the games. And then he has this whole, remember this, it's important, you don't win in there by killing people despite what Seneca thinks, you win by not dying. Run, hide, cheat if you have to, let them kill each other, but stay alive. And like, I know he says some of this stuff in the final movie, but reading it the way that they like intersperse it, like, what's going on here, guys?
The script gives the vibe that Haymitch and Seneca have a sweet gay love affair that's just simmering under the surface.
They are exes, and Seneca is so mad at him that he's willing to kill any tribute that Haymitch has in the games just to piss Haymitch off. That is exactly their dynamic. It's crazy.
It's
I don't know how to
choice. I don't know why he named Seneca. There's also like the idea that Haymitch sees the betting board, sees that Katniss, for some reason, despite getting super high ratings, has a 100-1 betting on whether or not she'll succeed or live or whatever. That inspires him to action. He goes into a manic state and then walks into her bedroom and stares at her until she wakes up.
Yeah.
Delivers 5 lines, and we cut to the hovercraft.
And then we cut to the hovercraft, exactly. Like, that's it. Unhinged. Again, I mean, it does catapult him to like when he's at the betting board in the movie, it catapults him to also like give them a whole speech, but he gives them a speech about like getting their proper scores and like all this other stuff where it is in the movie. And so it's just so wild in the script that because Effie's had basically all of his lines up until this point, and now, okay, here's my headcanon, okay, for this version of Haymitch. You know how in the last part we were talking about the bread and circuses conversation that him and Effie have, and we're like, how does he know about Rome? How does he
Okay.
know to like quote philosophers? When he was dating Seneca, Seneca was like, I need you to be more educated.
Yes!
That's my headcanon. That's where he learned bread and circuses from, is Seneca. Because they're
100%.
ex-lovers.
Oh my god, this is a new. Actually, now I need the script to be shot.
Could you imagine Woody Harrelson and what's his name, Wes Bentley? Could you imagine them having ex-lover energy?
Scrap Sunrise on the Reaping. It's whatever.
Yeah.
We don't need it. We need the time that Haymitch is running tributes through the games, and him and Seneca, they're kind of growing closer. The push and pull of, oh, but you killed my, oh.
It's wild.
I need that.
And it's so funny because, like, what they do in the script is that Seneca basically just replaces Snow. He just is Snow, which is, like, crazy to think about now that we have all this Snow stuff. But at the time, like, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes wasn't out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear that Snow was in charge, but I guess Seneca's there.
Yeah. But, like, it's funny because now that we have Sunrise, mini spoiler for Sunrise, not really, but like the fact that he is so mad still about Lucy Gray that when he meets Haymitch, he's like, those damn cubby girls, right? Like, that's like giving me the same type of energy, but like, except that you guys are the ex-lovers. So I'm glad it went to Snow instead, eventually, for his inability to get over one girl one time.
Boy.
It's just,
Dictators,
it's crazy. We haven't even gotten to their scenes yet. We've already
We'll get there.
headcanon for them. So anyways, after Haymitch wakes her up like this, they get onto the hovercrafts to go. Katniss brings the Mockingjay pin herself, and she's shaking too badly to put it on. And then basically everything is the same, pretty much. I like that they still have like pretty little dialogue between her and Cinna. And then she goes up. But this time, Claudius Templesmith is going to be like, hello, don't you dare get off of your platforms, right? You're like, okay, great. He comes in and he like gives the announcement or whatever. And then they start the countdown and he's giving the countdown. And then Bravura, I think is how you say the name, who is that District 4 tribute that we talked about, literally gets down to the last 2 seconds of the countdown and he steps off and blows up. So I don't know if you know, but this is apparently a Mandela effect of the fandom where people are convinced that somebody had stepped off the platform and blown up in the film. And we had just never seen it. And I'm like, what? Is it because of this? Because I don't think there's a deleted scene where somebody does it that I've seen. But like, did people read the script and they just remember this moment? Because it does happen in the script.
Interesting. I mean, it's setting, like, it makes sense because it sets up, later the bombs that are used to blow up the food. The idea that we start off the games with a child exploding. Okay, look.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
And also the fact that like it then actually stops the countdown. Kind of crazy. I would just expect you to not even stop the countdown and just let it go. There was only 1 second left. And so she's like, and then we're all just standing there like, oh my God, he just died. The cannon goes off. And then they restart the countdown at 1 second. First of all, if you're going to stop a countdown and then restart it, you usually rewind a few seconds so that people not restart it at 1 second. Not for the game makers.
Nope.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of wild. And essentially that replaces, like, she doesn't run into Foxface later, because otherwise everything is pretty much the same, except that we get Cato killing the District 4 tribute in the film version because he's the 12-year-old.
Gotcha.
So, like, that's kind of the exchange that we make there. But otherwise, it's like, I don't hate it. It's kind of a wild move. And it deviates from the book so much that I think it would have shocked people, whether that was a good or a bad thing.
I think it would have ruined the tempo of the scene, but, oh well.
Because again, when we're watching it in film, right, tension has to rise consistently, and anything you're doing to undercut the tension like Marvel, constantly undercutting their own tension all of the time. That's the thing that you don't want to be doing unless there's a goal. Like Iron Man undercutting his own tension in his films is a choice. Then continuing that into every Marvel film is a pattern that you maybe don't want to be following, right?
No.
So like you don't want to be undercutting tension. This is why we took Haymitch out at the Reaping, because he just kills all of the tension in the scene when the filmmaker wants you, when Gary Ross wants you to be on the edge of your seat. And this is what that would have done. It would have released all the tension in your body when this happens, instead of keeping you being like, oh my God, and then going straight into the kids having to kill each other and not the Capitol killing them, right?
Yeah.
So that's another big one. And then we go into the first control room scene pretty quickly.
It is funny, like the whole Katniss scenes that will be behind everything that we're going to talk about is very to the book. Like she really struggles to find water. It's just interspersed with a bunch of weird stuff that we cut away to that is never in the book nor in the movie, and it's just sponkers.
And it's stuff that like wouldn't have worked as well. So like there is no Caesar Flickerman in this movie. In this version of the movie, in this script. It's no casting duo. It's just Claudius Templesmith, I guess 24/7, because the broadcast is going on at all times, just up there by himself. I'll say this. Casting is an incredibly difficult job. I know that people think that anybody could do it, but it's not. It requires a very specific skill set. And it requires you to have the ability to know how to like speak nonstop. And that's why you usually have somebody to play against, because that's like a really hard thing to do. There was one time on one of my shows when one of our casters, our color commentator who usually would do a lot of the like fill silence stuff, his internet went out in his home and we were all remote at the time. So our other caster had to pick up the slack for like a whole match, which is like, how long were our matches back then? Like 2 hours? 2 hours of nonstop speaking on air by yourself, and basically your producer is like, we can't have 1 minute of downtime, because 1 minute of dead air of nobody speaking, people think that something's wrong, you've dropped audio, like, you know, like there's all this stuff that you can't have any dead air, and it still to this day is probably one of the most impressive things I've ever watched. But yeah, only having one person. And
rough.
It's Claudius Templesmith. It's not even Caesar Flicker. But they basically have him doing the like little like intercuts that we would have in the final film just by himself. So it would sound probably a lot more like reading a phone book than it would a fun conversation between casters, right? Because he's explaining about the mentors and the sponsors. He does talk more about the betting on the broadcast, which I think is something that would have been really interesting in the film to like dig deeper into it, but
they're really drawn in by the betting portion of the games. The script is versus the movie that mentions it but skates past it.
Yeah, and even in the books until we get into Sunrise. Yeah, like Ballad touches on it, but it's also like that's the first time they do it. So like,
Sunrise, really it's very very present.
Yeah. But anyway, so then we come out of the control room to Gale. He's following Lavinia, who is the Avox girl, for those that don't recall. And he follows her, to the horrible bunks, rows and rows and rows of bunk beds where they live underground. And they compare it to Auschwitz in the script.
Okay, why is Gale one here? Two, this man is just walking around the Capitol. He is sleeping in the barracks with the Avoxes. Like, he's just going wherever. Is he dressed as an Avox and he's just walking around like that? Like,
he's dressed as an Avox still, because that's what he was dressed as when he went to go see Katniss, I think.
It's killing me.
It's killing me. You're not immediately trying to go. I know you've been gone for what is probably 2 years at this point, because your train probably took so long to get to the Capitol. But like, you do need to go there. Your family's gonna die, dude. Your family, Prim, Katniss's mom, like, they're all going down without you there. You are like the pillar of that community. Oh, go home.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the games are happening. We have so much happening in the games. Then we cut to Gale and the Avox subplot, which may or may not, the framing of it is that it's also kind of the main plot because it's like constantly sort of interspersed. So Katniss is not the main character in this in a way. It's Gale.
I'll say this. I wish we had recorded our reactions because as I was reading this, I must have, so I had skimmed the script once and then I printed the first half and I had like read that. So like what we did for part 1 and part 2. I don't remember this at all. I must have like skimmed past it and just been like, oh, they're just talking about Gale or something. Because I literally was gasping as I was reading this because I was like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening?
It's so anyways, good. Yeah.
You win the bet.
So I win. Shout out.
Yeah. For us being unable to predict because I never would have guessed.
Look, I think the Avoxes are extremely fascinating and very underexplored. This is not the time.
No.
And this is not the man to be doing it.
No, not from a book that's meant to be from Katniss's point of view with some interesting things thrown in there. Like,
I just had a horrifying thought.
Oh God,
so
I'm ready.
If this script was made and then the rest of the movies were made, his Mockingjay turn would be because Lavinia was taken.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. You'd be like, I have to protect this girl.
Mm-hmm. So then,
and then you'd be like, I will blow up together,
and Lavinia and Gale.
Oh my goodness. So much fanfic material in here that we could really build our own entire fandom off of.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we should, but we can. I think this can stay where it is.
Yeah. It's it's interesting.
But I'll read it. If anyone has any if anyone has any Lavinia Gale fanfic that also includes his Mockingjay turn, please let us know. I am very curious.
You know what else I'm thinking is if that were the case and then he creates the bombs, the Avoxes would have totally been in there. He actually would have just killed her. And all the Avoxes that sheltered him.
He would.
And not cared because they would have been a part of the system. He would have cared a little because of Lavinia, but then he would have been like, too bad.
Maybe this script was going somewhere fun.
I wish. Here's the other thing. Because once we get to the Catching Fire and Mockingjay, we're not going to have this ability to do these fun script things because I don't think they're released even. And if they are, it's pretty much just the final shoot script. It's not like these early interpretations because by the time they get through this movie, they already have a really good idea of how they're going to adapt the next couple, right? So it gets a lot easier. But could you imagine? I just want the interpretation from Billy Ray of what the next 2 films would have been like off of this script.
Please.
That's what I want. Like, it has to be out there somewhere, I feel like, you know?
I mean, somewhere in some email, deep in some
or just some outlines, even just you know, like the brainstorm cards you make when you're trying to write a story. Like that's what I want. Anyways,
to dream,
crazy. And then the scenes aren't even that long. It's like, oh, he just goes down there. We're just like intercutting a bunch, way more. Speaking of the Odyssey, right, where I was just talking about how long those scene blocks are without an interruption. This, they're being interrupted like every 30 seconds with an intercut. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. One thing happens to Katniss, and then we cut to forgetting about Katniss. Like, we cut to an entirely different scene. I
straight up would forget about where we were with Katniss.
Like, I guess she's in a tree again.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then we cut back into the arena. Yeah, go for it.
PETA kills at least 2 people in this script.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Well, we're not even there yet. It's crazy.
Oh.
Because we cut it back in and it's day 2. I will say that they were going to do like day counters on the screen, which I'm always a fan of. I like that. I don't think I missed it necessarily in the movie. You know which movie I did miss it in? Superman.
Yeah, would have been good.
Fuck
I think
test
the supers...
audiences. No test audiences should ever be allowed to give notes to James Gunn ever again. I'm sorry, and I don't even think James Gunn is the greatest filmmaker or anything like that. But I don't think anybody should be able to tell him what to do ever again. Like, how dare you have him take that out?
That squirrel was necessary. I think supers would really not work in the Hunger Games because the point of the games is to lose track of time. Like, that is a part of the games.
Exactly.
So the fact that we would know what day it is, Katniss doesn't know what day it is, so why should we?
Yeah, and also they can control the length of the day. So we don't know how many days are passing. If we're going to be cutting out to Gale so much, that's not going to match up with how many days Gale is in the Capitol as to how many days she's necessarily in the arena, right?
Yeah.
Because we have no idea. They could literally make a day 10 hours and then the night like 6, and then the next day it's like a longer day. Like, they could do whatever they wanted, right?
Yeah.
So it just depends.
Sounds good.
And then we cut back out from that, where we get the reveal of PETA as part of the career pack, pretty much how we get it at the end product. And then we cut to Prim watching the games in school. I like that she's watching it in school. Like, that they're forced to watch it at all times, pretty much. Basically in the final film, right, like, we get cuts to District 12 at the beginning during the countdown, and then we won't get them again until she's in the cave with PETA, and it might just be Gale. We're not there yet, so I can't remember.
Yeah.
But in this version, Prim's class is being forced to watch it, and literally Claudius Temple-Smith is like, some boyfriend, that PETA, ouch. Sir. What a misinterpretation as well. Like, I feel like, again, we've talked about this, I feel like the Capitol citizens can see what PETA is doing, which is, like, trying to protect Katniss.
Yeah.
Which is why that strategy works for him.
Yeah. It's so good. And I don't like PETA's line. So PETA, instead of being like, oh yeah, those were her traps, like, he's leading them around in circles or whatever. PETA here is like, I tried to tell you, she wouldn't be dumb enough to start a fire. Is like, then he's not, like, leading the careers in, like, a hunt. So it doesn't work quite as well.
Yeah, because literally in the film, he says, like, yeah, that's her snare. Yeah. He's like, I recognize it. Have I ever been in the woods? No. But that has to be her. Nobody else is as smart or as pretty. Like, that's movie version.
He's a very sweet boy. Yeah. But yeah, just the idea that, like, anytime, it seems like in the script, anytime anything happens PETA Katniss wise, we cut to Prim, which, yeah, I don't want to watch her watch Katniss. That's too much.
Yeah. It's real interesting. And, like, Prim is, like, whispering her name and, like, all this other stuff. I like that we have so little of Prim in the final movie, personally. But I feel like that's not a complaint I've heard, where people are like, I wish there was more Prim in the first film. In the later films, yeah. But that's just because I think she's really good. So, like, I don't necessarily think we needed to, like, cut her out. And we get a lot more of her in the later films anyways. So, yeah. And if we're trying to stick with, like, this is still a Katniss POV story to a certain degree, like, anything that is happening outside of, like, perspective-wise is pretty much gonna directly affect Katniss in some way. It kind of does here too, which we're gonna get to in a bit with Gale. But, like, the Prim stuff doesn't, right? So therefore it's not really feeding into Katniss's narrative at all. Like, when we get the cuts to District 12 at the beginning, that is just to, like, show the effect that her going into the games has. But then, like, later when we get the District 11 scene, it's like there is a direct consequence for Katniss for that, which is them doing the rule change. So anyways, there's all that. When we get back into the arena with Katniss, it's her, like, going through all of her supplies and stuff. She has the night vision goggles, so she tries them on thinking that, like, they're sunglasses and they don't work properly. So she's like, dang. And then she tries to eat berries, and then she looks at them and she goes, night lock. And then she, like, throws them away. This is why it was hard, though. And I get it, right? This is why it's really difficult to adapt first-person narratives. because you're like, how are we supposed to say stuff without her literally just saying stuff?
It's
for
also
no reason.
It's so boring.
It's so boring.
It's so boring.
That's the reason why it's like all I can think about is the Gale stuff, because all this stuff is boring in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more accurate telling of the actual game's events.
Right.
To a point. We'll get to that to a point.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't, I don't think this would work on TV. We'd be like, oh, I guess she's just doing Alone in the Woods, you know, like.
Right. Yeah, there's so many reasons it wouldn't work, I think. But
no.
She's in desperate need of water at this point because we are going to do the dehydration storyline. This is the big one. And out loud, she's going to say, water, Haymitch, please. As she's looking up intercut. This is how it's written into the script, by the way. It says intercut with interiorist game center, Haymitch's quarters. Same. Which just means it's the same time of day. Haymitch, of course, is watching. Effie eyes him. Water she can find on her own. He pours himself a cup of coffee, slugs down a bitter gulp. Like, that's... And then they cut back to Katniss, who's dying of dehydration. This is why I think they needed to take this storyline out. Because it's like... Yeah, at some point you have to show Haymitch being like, I will not send her water, even though she's dying of dehydration.
And you're like, okay, great. Really now I hate Haymitch.
Yeah. Not that he would have been able to send it to her in this universe. We're gonna find that out shortly. Which we'll have a whole rant about that when we get there. But anyways, so all that's happening. Seneca is in the control room asking how long since our last event. And they're like, it's been like 8 hours. And he's like, okay, great. Like, stir it up. Basically, he's like, let's do something else entertaining. I like how it ends up in the final film instead, where it's like, oh, she's just way too far from everybody else. You got to turn her around because otherwise she's just going to be hanging at the end of the perimeters and stuff. And that's why they start throwing fireballs at her, is just because they're like, it's been boring for like 8 hours. So it feels like way more direct interference to like potentially kill versus like redirect, which is kind of how it is in the movie. So kind of like how reality TV is produced, which is like, we're going to push you into a certain storyline, even if we're not going to necessarily feed you lines. Right? Yeah. Because then it becomes scripted television.
Whereas this, they're like, we're bored. Someone light it on fire.
Right. And then we're getting more shots of Prim while this is happening. And she's being shot at by the fireballs. And then she falls, not down a cliffside like she does in the movie, where she just like rolls over, literally off a cliff, where she hits the force field and it throws her back up into the arena.
A 500-foot cliff that she jumps off of. She is like, I'm dying. As she's falling, going like, I'm dying. Hits a force field and then gets like bounces right back to the top of the...
and takes
crazy.
0 damage from it. And it drops her straight back into like a pond so that she can like clean her wounds. It's crazy. And then the craziest thing is that the staff in the control room applaud Seneca for this. They're like, yay, great job. So entertaining.
My God.
Sir was just standing there. He wasn't even directing you guys on what to do. What?
Yeah, it says... essentially, like, this little blurb is like, she jumps, blind, no idea what's below. That last fireball barely misses her. Then she sees what's beneath her. A valley floor 500 feet down. Death. She plummets, helpless. Back into the game center, resuming. Seneca and his staff watch her tumble through the air. Seneca allows a grin because he knows what's coming. Like, what is this? She hits crazy. An unseen trampoline, is what the script literally says.
I know. And then this is happening, and she's like soaking her wounds, and they're very painful, right? After they've been applauding Seneca for doing nothing, essentially. And we're gonna get Beto, who is the little assistant boy that we talked about last time, and a new character, Delano, because they're just gonna name every capital citizen under the sun, apparently. Also, I said that I do like little headers or whatever, so you'll see a pattern here shortly. But I just have the Capitol and Haymitch ? Exclamation point. Haymitch comes in, and Beto and Delano are betting on how long it would have come by to take him to come over and ask for something from Seneca. Big X's. Everybody knows about your messy drama energy. Now that
you are the office gossip.
Yeah. Literally, I think they talk about that. It's so funny. They're like, I'll read the quote here. But basically, they're like, oh, Seneca already went to bed, and he's denied whatever request you've come for. Like, he doesn't even know what it is yet. Like, he was like, if Haymitch comes by, tell him no. Like, what? What are we talking about? Beto says, tomorrow, because he's like, oh, well, can I come back and see him tomorrow then? And they're, because they have been saying, good job on being sober enough to come by, Haymitch. Good for you. And Beto goes, well, tomorrow you'll be face down drunk, just like every year. Please do let us know the exact time you take that first drink, though, because we have an actual office pool on that one. More derisive laughter. See you next year, Haymitch. A public undressing, and Haymitch can't fire back. He turns and leaves. Laughter follows him out the door.
What is this?
Bananas. It's so weird. I'm like, if you guys are trying to harp on his drinking problem in this moment and be like he does this every year, first of all, you're showing that he cares enough to show up every year and attempt to do something for his tributes, so you're not really feeding into that narrative. And second of all, haven't we been doing that all script? Effie has basically just been harassing him for always being drunk and her having to do his job. Like, all script, we don't need to do it again.
Oh my god, it's so
crazy.
funny. So we've essentially replaced like the idea of the Capitol as a force that's oppressing its citizens and do it to Haymitch and Seneca are exes, clearly had a very toxic relationship, and so it's Seneca versus Haymitch using Katniss as their pawn to fight each other.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like one of the things is that like, so basically what you're saying is that sponsors in the Capitol, the citizens that are trying to sponsor, could pay for something and Seneca can just say no. Like, wouldn't that piss the average sponsor off? Like, I would not sponsor anything if I knew the game person who hated his ex could just say, no, thank you. You can't send any of the stuff you paid for. Like, what are we talking about? So, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just like, what? What is this?
So the biggest thing is, it's like, again, the interpretation that they end up doing in the final movie, I think, is so much better because, like, the idea is that I think we've said this a couple of times. It's a lot scarier to have ignorant people than malicious people, because, yes. And like, that's the whole thing in the Capitol, is they're all ignorant, except for maybe a handful of them, like the Plutarchs and the Snows. Everybody else has fallen victim to the propaganda, right? Like, everybody else is like, oh, we're helping these kids. I became a game maker. I became Caesar Flickerman. I became part of the prep team, because at the end of the day, you're going to help them, right? Like, not because I'm trying to do damage to children, but because that's just the way it works. That's just how we keep us safe. This is just how we run society. Like, that is way scarier and way more realistic than having every single person be incredibly malicious. All the time.
So malicious. Oh my god.
It's crazy.
I mean, what a choice.
What a choice. Yeah. I was shook at when I was reading this for the
There's
first time.
so much. We cut back to Katniss, who's in a tree.
Yep.
And the career pack finds her hanging out in this tree. They don't find her in the pond and run and have this fun chase. They just see her in a tree and they go,
yep.
Hey.
What a coincidence. Quinky dink.
Yeah.
And then this is when Glimmer tries to shoot an arrow at her, and Katniss will snag it out of midair.
Katniss catches the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not how arrows work.
Yeah. Maybe if she was Spider-Man or something, I could see that working. If she was wearing gloves, there's like a lot of other things that like could have contributed. We
have Gale 07 running around the Capitol, and or Gale
Spider-Man?
007, Katniss Spider-Man.
Oh, our universe is just growing. I'm so excited.
Oh, this is so good.
Because then after that, because basically everything else is the same, they go to bed underneath her, and PETA is essentially like, oh, whatever, like just leave her be. We'll just do it in the morning. And they're like, okay. Like, he doesn't even make the argument like she's got to come down for food at some point. He just says, we'll
I'm
just do it in the
tired.
morning. Yeah. And they all listen to him. And then my next little section here is labeled Gale and Haymitch? Question mark, exclamation point.
Just to remind you who the main character of the Hunger Games is. Gale returns.
Haymitch is sitting in a bar. He's getting drunk. Gale comes up behind him. What a coward you are. He doesn't care that they're in public. And he's dressed, likely, in this moment, as an Avox. As a person who has his tongue cut out. He's going to be shouting at Haymitch in the middle of Times Square, basically.
And we must be reminded, the Capitol, which is the capital of a surveillance state.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, so they talk about Haymitch is like, oh, you're in love with Katniss too? Oh, that would have been really good during the interview. And Gale's like, she could die. Like,
really? And then Haymitch was, and he's like, you're a coward. And he's like, yeah, I am a coward and a drunk. I doubt you'd do any better on your 24th games. Book Haymitch and movie Haymitch would never bring that shit up. He'd be like, don't even want to think about that.
We're getting drunk to not think about that.
Yeah. And then Gale just straight up tells us her backstory. Her dad and my dad both died in the same mining accident. And then he does a whole thing about how he knows her and how he knows her family. And then his little, I don't know, do we call this like a love speech? Where he's like, her whole life, she's never had anybody to help her. Now she's got you. And that's it. Against all this, are you really gonna let her die in there from something you could have stopped? And it's like, wow. What a time. What a time.
So much. It's so much. Why is this here? What is this serving?
And then basically this is still going to be intercutting as this scene is happening back into the games. So we're not going to get the full resolution of this scene. But like we see that PETA is awake under the tree, and he's basically like, oh, she's mine when we get her to Cato. And he's like, okay. Whatever.
Sure.
We get the day 3 card, and then we get the tracker jackers falling, and Gale and Haymitch are still watching this as well. And so basically, is this where Gale is like, oh, you need to send her medicine? And he's like, oh, I already tried, and Seneca said no. Like, he literally just straight up tells Gale that. Is that in this section?
Yes. So that was earlier. So here's the sequence of events.
Okay. That's what I was
Gale confronts Haymitch in a public bar with waitresses walking by and handing them drinks.
Right. They hand Gale a drink, don't they? And I'm like, isn't he in an Avox uniform? Why would anybody hand an Avox who's talking a drink? Anyway, continue.
And then Gale gives his speech about how much, Katniss has no one on her side, and, how could you? Cut back to the games until we see the Tracker Jacker nest. Cut back to Templesmith and Haymitch, and then cut back to Katniss.
Yeah, that sounds right.
There's no scene that finishes. We have every scene of Katniss is cut in the middle with some bullshit.
It's also, if people didn't like the shaky cam because it makes you feel ill, I think the amount of cutting we would have been doing back and forth in the edit would have made me ill.
Oh my god.
It would have been way too much.
So much. But yeah, Tracker Jackerness drops. Well, we get the super of day 3, and then Tracker Jackerness drops. And kind of happens the same. Horrifyingly, she needs to smash Glimmer's hand to get the bow out with a rock. I don't want to see that.
I think she does that in the book.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But then PETA comes in, right? This is where he comes back.
Yes, and says, "Why are you still here? Go, they're right behind me." And then she sort of takes off.
And then he stabs Glimmer in the chest with a spear.
Yeah, who's apparently still alive and didn't scream when she smashed her hand with a rock.
Yeah. So I guess you could see it as a mercy kill in this moment, but it's kind of crazy. And then she crawls off into a pond somehow, and then we get like horror movie ants in the eyes. Like they're like, and then the ants enter her eyes that she was feeling, because in the book it talks about that's how she feels. And I'm like, I don't need a visual representation of that in this movie. Thanks so much.
No, I'm very glad that we got her backstory in this moment and not just like a Willy Wonka in the tunnel situation.
Yeah. They give us a little bit of the flashback of her dad exploding in a mine, but then there's like a bunch of limbs strewn about because like Prim is picking them up. And like in the town square. And like that's part of her hallucination, I guess. And
doesn't sound very PG-13 to me.
Exactly. And then are we getting like cutbacks to Prim at this? Like there's so many cutbacks to Prim that I didn't even bother to write them all down because I was like, there's too many.
I think this is pretty solid. I don't think there's a lot of cutting at this moment.
Because then we get more of the original Rue conversation, like from the book. Like this is basically just word for word the book conversation that they have. Which we were talking about. We missed that. We wished we had more of it. Yeah. Yes.
But don't worry. As soon as we sort of resolve Katniss and Rue, they're like, okay, tomorrow we'll go blow up the stuff. Not to worry. We are back to the toxic exes. We are in Seneca's bedroom. And and Haymitch is going to walk into his bedroom.
So here's the next headline I have. Seneca and Haymitch? Question mark, exclamation. And those are basically the three headers I managed to put in because I had so much intercutting that I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Can't keep track of this.
But yeah, he basically comes up to like his room, but he's like trying to stay outside of it, right? Like on the other side of the door and like not go in. Very X-coded of him to be like, I don't even want to be in the same room as you anymore.
This is bedroom number 2 he shouldn't be in. And
oh my goodness. I didn't even think about that. Okay, but here's the thing that is now supporting my theory that Seneca taught him bread and circuses. Haymitch, if you're going to put on a circus, at least make it a good one. He says this at some point to Seneca.
I believe it. It's real. It's true. Haymitch and Seneca fucked. And they talked about Roman philosophy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna cry. This is so funny.
It's so good. Haymitch again is like, hey, can I send the medicine? Because apparently that's just a thing I can request. But you just say yes. It's not related to me being good at schmoozing people or getting money at all.
He's the only one that can go directly to Seneca. Because he used to be.
What are the other mentors doing to get their...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because later, we'll get there, but when the District 11 sends the bread, I'm like, that's so funny because that means Seneca had to approve it. Apparently. And he was like, yeah, sure. Give Katniss a little comfort, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'll approve this, like, what's probably pretty rebellious is a whole district sending a different tribute.
And you know the craziest part is all of these are the stand-in for what will later become the Rose Garden scenes instead.
Yes! Oh my god.
I'm dying.
Oh. I will say, look, I love the Rose Garden scenes. I'm also loving a toxic gay romance.
A toxic gay enemies to worse enemies. But they're lovers the whole time.
To every Seneca dies. Maybe Haymitch dies in this as well. You know, maybe he goes out, you know, with the team there. But because Effie can mentor, Haymitch is not necessary.
He's not, other than the fact that, well, at least in our version, Snow wants every district to have a mentor. But in this version, Seneca's like, nah, get him out of here. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. And then we cut back to Seneca saying like, oh, how are the mutations going? Like, we're introducing the mutts back in.
That's right.
3 seconds of dialogue, we are back in the games.
Well, the 3 seconds of dialogue, the funniest part is they're like, oh, well, 10 of them are ready. And he's like, I didn't ask about 10, I asked about all of them. And then he hangs up. Very gay of him to
It's like 10 is, you know how many there are. Why is 10 not an appropriate response?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Like at this point, aren't only 10 of the tributes dead anyways? So like, what does it matter how many of them are ready?
Like, I don't know. I know what day it is. I don't know what else is happening, but I know what day it is.
Yeah, because we're about to get the super of day 4. And we got back in. Katniss and Rue are all this crazy shit is going on with the toxic exes, and meanwhile Katniss is like, oh my god, I'm having the first good day I've ever had with little Rue. And it is objectively the most boring part of the movie so far. But the saddest part is that Katniss will call Rue Little Duck. I think that would have been a great addition at some point of like, maybe not calling her Prim, but it's like that's what she calls kids, right?
That
like,
would have been so good.
I think that would have been so cute. But basically they come up with their plan. We had the whole Mockingjay conversation. They've whistled at the Mockingjays, yada yada. All of this is essentially exactly the dialogue from the book in the script now. She goes, she blows up the food. This is all exactly the same. But then they do have like a little bit of a longer section of her losing her hearing, where they're like trying to figure out how they're going to do that with like the whooshing and when she's trying to like wash the blood away and stuff. Because we talked about like what are other ways we could have done that, right? But I think it would have been like probably it also would have only been for the short section. Would we get the sound effect? Like after that,
Yeah.
They probably would have just gone back to normal sound mix.
I think it could have worked.
Yeah. And then essentially we get Rue's death from the book version, where Katniss doesn't get her out of the netting. Marvel just throws the spear directly into her. Katniss kills Marvel. He does get shot in the throat. Instead of... Here's one thing. Sorry. This is my one complaint about the Odyssey. The lack of blood. I was really upset about it. There's like no blood in the whole fucking movie. You guys are an R-rated film, and the Cyclops is tearing people's heads off, and there's not even like a drop of blood on his fucking lips. What are we doing?
I don't know why we're so scared of blood nowadays. It's
like
so
the stupid sex purge movie is like, we took out all the sex scenes. And they're like, it's a movie about the sex purge. What do you mean? What do you mean you took out all the sex scenes? I don't understand.
Oh, God.
Anyways, yeah, in the Odyssey, there's like so little blood. And one of the things I noticed is that like Odysseus shoots a lot of people in the neck with his arrows, and none of them come away with any blood splurt. Literally,
yeah, it's fine. There's
0.
not just like a huge artery there.
Even just a little. I'm like, did you guys not want to do the special effect like on set? You're like the most in it of any movie production I've ever heard about. What do you mean you don't want to put a little blood? And like occasionally there's like small bits of blood, but I'm like, it should have been way bloodier. You guys are rated R. Like, get it together. Like, this makes sense to not shoot a kid, a literal child, in the neck to have blood splurting out of it so that he chokes on his own blood instead of just dying to the arrow in his neck in a PG-13 movie for children. Okay? Young adult novel. This is the Odyssey. I was so mad. I literally was the first thing I complained about to my roommate when we got out of the movie. I forgot about that. But that has more to do with modern film than it does anything else. So it's unfortunate.
Sadly. But I also, jumping back into the script, it's so interesting. So Peeta kills Glimmer by sort of putting one foot on her and just stabbing down with a spear. Mm-hmm. Marvel kind of does the same thing. So the visual language could have been extremely similar of Marvel killing Rue like Glimmer, like Peeta killed Glimmer. What does that say? That says,
yeah.
what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. It would have been interesting.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah. Then we pretty much proceed as usual. Right, with Rue's funeral and death scene.
Yeah. And we actually shockingly, we stay in the moment.
Yeah. We will get a cut to District 12 reactions in addition to the District 11 reactions, but it's pretty short.
Yeah.
And District 11, it's not like in the movie when we cut to them and then we stay on them and they immediately start rioting. They're not going to riot here. We'll get a cut to them, and then it says like a lot of teenagers, like young people are mad as they storm off. And then we cut back to a silver parachute drifting down. Oh, also because Katniss did get her parachute earlier when she was with Rue, and Rue goes, "Oh, it's probably not for me." So Seneca, after their toxic fight in his bedroom, did decide to allow Haymitch to send that medicine.
Thank you, Seneca. The romance lives on.
Yeah. And then I guess one of the District 11... Here's my theory then, because clearly the other district mentors don't have to go to Seneca for approval. They can just like send their gifts whenever they want, is my guess. So the District 11 mentors are like, we'll send this to Katniss. And Seneca's like, yeah, I guess, I mean, they decided to do it. What was I supposed to do? Like,
yeah.
So
sure.
I don't force Haymitch to come to me every time. So he's forced
Snow
to
isn't
interact
here,
with me.
so
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is so good.
And then we get the note from the people of District 11. She eats the bread. And then we cut back into District 11 again. And this time it's to people throwing things through the different windows of different buildings. And then the farmers, I think is how they refer to them as, are like accidentally blocking off the peacekeepers so that the people that did the vandalism can like run away, instead of it turning into like a full riot.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. I'm glad they went full riot. I think they should have gone full riot. I think it makes sense. It's the kickoff to the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
And then Seneca gathers the game. He's like, bring the game makers to me, basically, to his staff. And I'm assuming, anyways, that this was for them to make the choice about the two victors from the same district rule change.
Yes. Because next thing we see is Templesmith being like, hello, two people can. Whoa. And then she says, Peter.
Right.
And then, not to worry, just a little teaser for next time we touch the script. We return to the Avox barracks.
I think we should end on it here because he's watching her with the Avoxes because they have a TV down in their bunker, I guess, so that they can keep up to date with what's going on in the game.
Why would they need to keep up to date?
Because Gale sees her say Peeta's name and he looks hurt. Did you read this page or should we just...
No, I cut it. I cut it
after this because I was like, I feel like we have to include this scene. I should have been clear.
Oh my god.
But yeah, they raid the Avox barracks. Yeah.
Okay.
To hunt down Gale.
You can't describe the Avox barracks like Auschwitz and then also have a TV in there. I'm so sorry.
And it's not like they need to keep up to date. Like when I used to work at the VIP lounge at one of my jobs, I did keep up to date with the news about where we were because I would talk to the VIPs about it. The Avoxes can't speak. So
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if they're up to date on what's happening at the Hunger Games because they don't need to interact with anybody about it. And then they say it's like Avoxes of all ages. I think Gale says this at the beginning. So there's like children in there. So I'm like, so they're just cutting the tongues out from children for rebelling as well, which is, I think, not a thing that we know of in the Capitol.
Oh, I would assume that the Capitol would be like dandy with that, but
yeah,
who knows?
I think we only see adult Avoxes in the book, so it's possible, but it's like, if you're then gonna own the children as slaves, like, what do you? They'd probably be more help if you send them out to the districts at that point, not kept them in the Capitol, I guess.
That's true.
So I thought that was curious.
Amazing. I can't wait until we get more into Gale, Galing, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I will say this. So what happens in this scene basically is that they get raided. and they're like, we're going to kill anybody that is housing anybody that is not an actual Avox. And so Lavinia's like, damn, I'm about to die. And they're just laying there scared. And one of the kids shows Gale that there's like a hatch, and he drops down into the sewers. And that's the end of the scene. So when we catch up with him later, we'll recount this whole scene, but it will be to him being in the sewers underneath the Capitol, which I can only imagine is because that they then wanted somebody to be able to direct them in the sewers in Mockingjay.
Oh my god. Wait, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to bring it up now.
We're putting the pieces together.
We will rewrite the future scripts to match this canon.
Yes. Oh,
wow.
What
Anyways,
an amazing script.
Page like 90 for anybody that's curious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is always a joy. I'm so glad that we started doing this and not trying to integrate this into normal episodes because this is incomprehensible.
Literally, there would have been no way we could have compared this at a like scene for scene breakdown. There would have just been it's too different. It's weird, and that's goes to show just how similar the final film ended up being to the book, despite the changes. Right, like it was still similar enough that we could go through scene by scene, basically, and know exactly where it pulled from in the book. Even the things that are outside of Katniss's POV. It's like, again, because everything that happens outside of her POV ends up having a direct consequence to her. And that's why we're seeing it.
Yeah. There's so much here. It's great. We ask in the meantime, as we enter part 3, if anyone writes and or finds any Gale Lavinia fanfic, any Haymitch Seneca fanfic, any sort of
I want Haymitch Seneca not even ex-toxic boyfriends, just toxic lovers in general.
Yeah.
I would read the shit out of that.
Please send it our way.
We have new followers. Okay, people listen all the way in Australia. So, thank you to all the new followers. By the way, we appreciate you.
Yeah, I truly thought no one would watch this and no one listened to this, and it would just pass, and we'd have a great time. So thank you for listening. Yeah. But yeah, please send us your fanfic. I think we have to make new bets. Obviously, Gale's going to be in it more.
Okay, you start. What do you want to bet about Gale?
Oh,
I think we should do one for Gale and one for Haymitch Seneca.
Okay. I'm going to make an actually pretty precise swing because I think mine was pretty general, a little kind that I won, obviously. I think Gale is going to enter the arena through the mutations. Something about the mutations and Gale is going to happen.
So I also think it's the mutations, but I don't think he's going to enter into the arena. I think he's going to do what Snow kind of does in Ballad, where he's going to do something to them so that they don't want to attack Katniss or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay, I like this.
Or like get a warning message to her. You know, like he's then going to like run to Haymitch and be like, Haymitch, you have to get a message to Katniss. Like, you have to get it past your ex and tell Katniss that these fucking things are coming for her.
That seems actually much more likely than him actually showing up in the arena. But I've committed to the bit, so I bet that he shows up in the arena itself through something to do with the mutations.
So the other thing that I'm noticing is just how much of this kind of stuff is kind of like a predecessor to things that happen in Ballad and even in Sunrise. Like with the force field thing. It's like, yeah, we already knew that was happening because Catching Fire had already come out at this point, and so we had heard from Haymitch's games that was like a thing because he threw the axe and like all that stuff, right? But now obviously we see it in Sunrise. Like we actually get to like the full story of how that operated.
Yeah.
But another thing that we get is peacekeepers or whoever it is, spoilers for Sunrise on the Reaping, sorry, entering the arena through like the underground stuff. I wonder if Gale does do that here because it's going to be a predecessor, because this is the thing about how wild this script is. Suzanne was involved.
Yeah.
So like how much of this then
Somehow.
inspires scenes that we get later that she was like, well, this is like a world building thing that I did want to include. It's probably not the right place to do it in the movie of the first book when we had no indication of some of this stuff. But like, what about the prequels? You know, when she decides to write those, like, I'm so curious. I know she doesn't give interviews, but I would be so curious if she were to ever talk about it. You know?
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah,
but
okay.
We shall truly never know.
So that's our Gale bet. Are we actually betting something? What should we bet?
Oh, I don't know. I don't usually ever.
Who gets to pick the next thing we watch together? Since we actually should do that.
Oh, yeah, so that's a good call.
First?
I like it. Yeah.
And then what's our guess for the next Haymitch Seneca thing?
Oh, well, let's see. What does she need? She does need the medicine for PETA.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big ask from his ex. You know, that's really selling a love story, and their love story clearly had turned sour. I need another bedroom scene. I think that's required. I wonder if, okay, here's what I want to see.
Okay.
Effie's interacts with Haymitch Seneca. Hey Seneca? Hey.
Oh yeah, now we're gonna have to come up with an actual ship name. You know who does ship names the best is Ruby, right? And so
yeah,
because they just name them things instead of like trying to like squish their names together. So we're gonna have to think about it. And next time what we should do is we should come back with our Haymitch Seneca ship name. That's what we should do.
So right now we'll go with Senmitch. I want to see Effie therapizing Senmitch.
Yeah, where she's like, boys, we have to do this in public.
We have a
Nobody
TV
needs
show
to know
put
your
on.
dirty business. Yeah. She's like so sick
That's
of their
my
shit.
hope. Yeah. What is your hope for the script?
More office betting pool. It doesn't even have to do with Seneca, but like maybe Seneca getting in on it and Haymitch finding out. And he's like, I thought this stuff was beneath you, Seneca. I thought you were better than that. Yeah, I don't even know.
The toxic workplace of the game makers.
Or maybe like he confronts him about the mutations after Gale goes to him and tells him about them, and he's like, that's so unfair, Seneca. And he just like bitches and whines at him. It's even funnier because now I'm picturing that scene that we just talked about. I just released like the TikTok clip about it recently where it's you know, Seneca standing very still and Haymitch doing like this around him. That's what I'm picturing, but it's going to be about the mutations.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like it. It. I think this is going in a great direction.
Okay, great. And then we should rewrite it this way if it's not like that in the rest of the script. Because I really clearly just skimmed that. Like, some of this stuff is so shocking to me. I don't remember any of it. And I don't read these like in advance. Like, I read this today and you did too.
Yeah, same.
Like when we're watching the movies, we're not also then being like, let's read the scripts. No, we want it to be as fresh as possible when we're going in. Because it's so bonkers.
Oh my god.
There's so much. And we haven't even gotten PETA. Like, what are they going to do to our boy PETA when we get to him? Because again, you know what we haven't gotten? Any of the flashback about the bread. Nope.
PETA is a side character to a side character. Gale is the main character. Katniss happens to be sort of related. You know, she's a supporting actor.
Gale is A plot, Katniss is B plot.
Yeah.
And then Haymitch is also part of A plot. So they're actually A and B, Gale and him, and then Katniss is C, and then PETA is just there.
Sorry, PETA. This is amazing. I'm so glad we chose to do this. Thank you all for joining this adventure. Please read the script. It's a delight. It's so send us your fanfic. And congrats. I think next week we'll be moving into part 3 proper.
Yeah, we will be moving into part 3 proper. I don't think we have any other special episodes. We're probably going to be saving all of those for the end of the book. So we're working on scheduling those out. And then part 3, we're entering the official love storyline is what I would say in the book. with Peeta and Katniss. So looking forward to that. I like Peeta in the books is a little bit different, but I love the version that we get at the end, so I'm excited to see that. And to all of our new followers, thanks for following along. This is a long one. We're not going to post the whole thing, but we've been talking for 2.5 hours so far because we talked about the Odyssey for like over an hour at the beginning.
So bad.
So much to say. I'm going to have to edit it down so much.
Oh my God.
But worth it because it was such a fun talk. We're just happy that you're here because I think we have close to like 50 listeners right now, I think, which is pretty big for us considering I only sent it to like 5 people, and those were the 5 people
I've sent it to listen. My barber.
Yeah. So thank you all, and we really appreciate you. And comment, let us know what you're thinking. If you thought this was as funny as we did, we want to know your headcanons. Not only should you share your fan fiction, even if you don't write anything, what are your headcanons about the script? Because I need to know now. But yeah, and we will see you all next week. We're coming to the end of the summer soon, so it's coming up quick.
Oh boy.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later. Happy Hunger Games.
Happy Hunger Games. Crazy times.
Amazing.